This is Marcus Whitney's audio universe.
Like, you gotta do the work. You gotta show up and just do the work.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's another episode of Marcus Whitney Live. So glad that we've been able to get all this technology in place, and we have a great show for you today. This is a guy who I have to say I admire, because I love stories of people overcoming adversity. I feel like, we all need to know what we're capable of doing. We all need to know what's possible, and this guy's story, I actually spent some time, I've known him for a while, but I spent some time this week digging into his website, watching the videos, reading the story, and just realizing, what an incredible story of overcoming adversity it is. And I just feel like in this time where all of us feel like we're a little bit challenged with the state of things and, what are we really able to do? The timing cannot be better to have him on. I want to introduce to you all entrepreneur and author Robert Sherrill. Robert, thank you for joining the show today.
Hey man, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it, Marcus.
Yeah, man, it's incredible to have you on the show today. And what I want to just start with quickly is you telling the audience just a little bit about yourself, so that we can frame up the rest of this conversation. And then we're going to jump in, because you've had incredible things just happen since COVID-19 popped off. Obviously, you've had an incredible life story, but just give us the bite-sized story, 60 seconds or less, about who you are and what your purpose in life is.
My name is Robert Sherrill. Of course, you know that. I was born and raised in Dodge City Projects. Was put out when I was 13. I've been on my own since I was 13. Really didn't have any positive influence in my family, so I chose the streets. I lived that life up until I was like 24. I ended up going to federal prison, doing 5 years for a drug conspiracy. Upon my release, I changed my life, worked at Maggiano's for a year. Then after that, I dove into entrepreneurship. And just in the snippet, that's kind of the gist of here today.
Yeah, that's important, right? I mean, I wanted to just sort of dive into the humble beginnings that you came from, and how much you had to overcome. I mean, being put out at 13 years old, so many people watching this right now, they can't even imagine what that's like, right? I can't imagine what that's like. So to just start there, now let's just talk about pre-COVID-19. Give us a couple of the things that you've accomplished, especially, in the last 2 or 3 years.
Right. So last 2 or 3 years, I've started a couple different companies. Again, my passion was janitorial restoration, which is Imperial Cleaning System. That was my first company. And then, I've always believed and had mentors that kind of steered me into making sure you add diversification and to you. And so with that, what I did, I started the lab. I co-founded the lab Nashville, which was a co-working space. And then I dove into real estate. So I started RCS Holdings, and I run all of my real estate dealings through the holding company for tax benefits and stuff like that. And then just recently, I opened up another event space and office suites. It's a 7,000 square foot building. Essentially, you can hold have your classes here. You can rent out the space for whatever parties. And then I have office suites, which I'm in one of them now, which is currently my office. And so it's called iStudio Nashville. And those have been some of the big things I've done in the past 3 years. I've also wrote a book by the name of Journey Back to Now. I also started a nonprofit, Impact Youth Outreach. I'm partnered with Juvenile Justice Center. I get referrals from their kids to come to my program. I also was elected to the board of Nashville State. And that's big from someone who never went to college, who never made it out of the 9th grade. And now I sit on the board of trustees for a community college. So those are just some of the things. I don't want to, keep going in and out about all of the other stuff. But yeah, those are some of the notable things in the past 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible what you've been able to accomplish, man. So with that, I think people get it. I think people understand why I have you on the show today. Let's dive in and talk about what has happened since COVID-19 hit, right? You're an entrepreneur. You're diverse in your holdings and your ventures, but you also are a small business owner, right? And so COVID-19 affected everybody, but as we all know, it's very clear now, small business owners were really, really affected. So let's just talk about what happened to you when the reality hit that things weren't just going to be closed for a week or two.
Well, because I run some of the business that I run, with me having our studios, we're gonna start there. I have tenants that are barbers, and I have salon suites and things of that nature. And so, because those businesses are deemed inessential, I had to close down, and so that revenue was lost on that end. And then a lot of my cleaning contracts canceled because they weren't open. So they was like, okay, we don't need your services. So I lost roughly about $400,000 in annual revenue within the first couple weeks of COVID
Wow.
hit. And so, and I'm smart with my money, but that big of a blow still was substantial.
Right.
And so, I tried to do all I can to stay afloat. And so I applied for all of the SBA loans. I applied for EIDL. I applied for PPP. Ironically enough, I was able to secure the PPP loan through my relationship with my bank. But that was only to cover payroll. 75% is allotted to payroll. 25% is allotted to
Mortgages and things like that.
and rent and stuff like that. So that money is gone already.
Right.
And the economy is just now trying to open back up. Of course, Nashville Monday, and it's opening up in the second phase. I've yet to make any money, and of course my bills are still due. So with that, I thought that I would apply for the EIDL loan, which is the SBA loan as well, and they denied me because of my decade-old felony. So it's like I'm important. There's I can pay taxes, but I can't tap into the resources that my tax money is being used for. And so, that's why I'm at right now, man. COVID's hit us hard, but I'm a lion, man. So I'm gonna come out on the other side.
Yeah. So I think one of the important things about the fact that you were denied the EIDL loan by the SBA for me is that from someone who watched you on the outside, one of the most important headlines I saw attached to your name was that in the last round of pardons that Governor Bill Haslam did, the former governor of the state of Tennessee, you were part of that last round, and it just felt like that final vindication, you know what I mean, for you and your story and everything you had done to take those early experiences that you had and turn them around and inspire other people, and through your nonprofit, sort of make sure that the struggles and the trials that you went through personally were not for nothing. They were not in vain. They serve to educate and to help other young people avoid those very same situations. I just found it to be painful, honestly. You know what I'm saying? To see the news that with everything you're trying to do and everything that you mean for so many people in the community, that it wasn't enough to qualify you for this loan. It was painful for me, just like I've seen your works, and it just, I don't know. I guess I just wanted to say that to you. You know what I mean? That it was painful,
Appreciate that. And so, my thing is that I believe we're stewards of our experiences, okay? And so God is allowing me, because he know I'm tough. He knows I'm built for it. I've been on my own since I was 13. I've had to overcome drug addiction. I've had to overcome gang life, the street life, prison life. And so he gives some of his toughest battle to some of his strongest soldiers. And so I have to, it's about the mind, right? So I have to look at these situations as building blocks. I have to look at these opportunities as a time to develop my character, because where I'm going, I have to go through this. I'm the poster child, man. Like I'm that guy that God has kind of set apart to be inspiration to so many others. And so with that weight comes a lot of trials. And so this is how I'm giving you my perspective on all the stuff I'm going through. But I believe that he's going to get the glory in the end, because couldn't nobody do this but God working through me to allow me to be at this moment right now in my life, and to be such an example to so many young men and women that are coming up, whether you're in the projects or whether you graduated. I inspire them all, because here you may have a degree. I'm an entrepreneur. I got people that call me for business advice, and I got kids that come to me that want me to mentor them. So it's like, I'm taking this storm, and I'm embodying it, and I'm allowing it to make me stronger, And so,
amazing, man.
although I didn't get the loan, and I'm still floating, I'm still making money, and I want to touch bases, because I got a lot of people on my Instagram when I post. I don't think they understand I play chess, right? And I'm very good at it. And so it's a bigger play involved than just the money. I'm trying to get a federal pardon. I'm trying to get the attention of the president, and I'm playing chess. So it's important that, people understand that Robert Sherrill is okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm very smart. I got real estate. I'm very diverse, and I'm blessed in that aspect. So, I just want people to know, and to champion behind legislation to help change the SBA guidelines, because there are a lot of good people like me who have changed their lives, who've shown it through their action and not just words. And I think that it's important that if people want to do something, that they should start calling their councilmen, start calling their mayors, start doing something, because felons, we deserve a chance. The thing about it, I've been able to achieve everything that I've done operating behind the eight ball.
Yeah.
There's been in no equity from day one when I stepped out of prison. I've had to scratch and claw my way to a position in this life. And as a citizen, I deserve the right to be successful and not be hindered by guidelines and things of that nature,
Yep.
And so that's what I want the people to understand.
So I think that's actually a great transition point. I have a book that's coming out June 30th. We both are getting ready to launch, new books, put books into the world. The very first chapter of my book, I talk about part of what inspired me to do things like this, right? One thing that you and I have in common, and I think many people who are able to overcome adversity have in common, is a strong sense of purpose, right? Because it allows you to contextualize what is happening to you in a greater narrative, right?
Yeah.
So you're not like stuck in that thing and overwhelmed by it. You see it as like this really cool twist in your story that allows for a larger greatness to happen on the back end, right? And to build you up, and for you to show people just how important it is to have that purpose, because then you get this inexhaustible drive. Right. You get this inexhaustible drive. So, where I was going with all that was to talk about an experience that I had a little over 5 years ago. Karen Vandermolen, who started.
Yeah, Karen. I know Karen. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So she found, for anyone who doesn't know, Karen founded a program called BEST here in Nashville, Tennessee, which is about entrepreneurship and bringing entrepreneurship that. Really, it's almost like bringing the gospel of entrepreneurship, into prisons for incarcerated persons. And I went in and I did a talk at the Tennessee Prison for Women, and completely changed my life. And since then, like, I've seen women who have been released and have gone on to do incredible things. I would love to hear you talk about the opportunities on the other side. For in terms of reform and return, and I think we'll use this as a good time to talk about your new ebook. Is it out, by the way? Your new ebook?
Yeah, we're dropping. Yeah,
okay.
we're dropping.
Okay. So yeah, like,
I think next week.
Okay, great. So talk about you come out, you're figuring out what you're gonna do. You went into entrepreneurship. I've long believed that not only is entrepreneurship a very, very important option that we have to make sure people understand who are returning to society and were previously incarcerated, but also that there might even be something in terms of like personality fit. You know what I mean? Where the same people who might have found themselves in those types of situations, there's actually a bravery that's attached to some of the things that many people do who find themselves in prison. And that same bravery can be repositioned and repurposed in entrepreneurship, right? And to result like you know what I mean? So just talk to me a little bit about that, and then we'll start talking about your books.
Well, ironically enough, I sit on the board of BEST. I'm one of their board members, and so
incredible program. Program.
Yes, it is, and I hope that they receive the funding that we're looking for to continue to grow and change the lives of the young women in the prison out there. They write us letters, and so it's kind of personal for me. So I just wanted to make sure I stated that. But yeah, man. So re-entry, it takes a special kind of person. This is what I've realized, to get out and against all odds overcome and try to get on the other side. This is for an example. So you get out, you can't get housing because you can't hire, that no one wants to hire a felon. I mean, no one wants to allow a felon to rent a place. And I know this to be true because I've went, and for the purposes of my book and stuff like that, I've had to go and fill, and I make 6 figures a year, great credit, all of that. They still deny me.
Right.
I have to live subpar in this city as a returning citizen and successful. I can't go live downtown in one of those high rises. They won't let me, even if the credit and the income is there. So housing is a big problem for felons. Okay, I can't find gainful employment because most felons statistically don't have the education background to be able to get a nice job. So I have to settle for $8 to $9, $10 an hour jobs. Okay, and then you got child support that doesn't stop when you go to jail. They call it willful unemployment.
Wow.
So because I go to jail, that child support is stacking up. So when I get out, I'm faced with all of this when I get out.
Right.
Who wants to get out and deal with that? You know, how hard it is to get out and to pick up the pieces with all of that against you. That's why people recidivate so quickly, because you go back to what you know, because it's survival of the fittest. I mean, you got to make money. You got to take care of your kids, and you got to make sure the house is straight.
And let's just keep it real. That would be overwhelming for the average person, right? You know, if you took the average person today who's like doing great in their job, you know what I mean? Socially well-adjusted, no problems. And you like light switch, you said, okay, boom, start from here.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see how you can do.
How you do, right?
Exactly. Like that's not you. I mean, I don't know how you return from that. You know what I mean? So let's use that to talk about transition pitfalls.
Exactly. So that's why I started Transition Pitfalls, because what I wanted to do, because I went through it, I got out against all of the institutions and systems that are put in place to keep a returning citizen down. I broke the walls on every one of them. I single-handedly built my life all over again. All right, from credit to trust, to successful businesses, for every portion of reentry, I've shattered the glass ceiling. Okay, and so I found it again. Experience is what you get when you don't get what you want, right? And so I'm responsible for my experiences. And so what I wanted to do was use my experiences in a way that I can help other returning citizens. So Transition Pitfalls, the unspoken truth about your release. I talk to Leadership Nashville. Every year I speak at their Criminal Justice Day. I've been up there with them all, from Project Return to you name them. We've been there to, I've rub shoulders with these people. But the one thing I found is that people are not being truthful about reentry, and the institutions that are in place that put red tape and put stumbling blocks in front of people like me. And so Transition Pitfalls exposes all of that and gives people an option to pick up the pieces to their life. And so I try to streamline the process of reentry for them. And I basically break down whether it be finances, whether it be you want to obtain a pardon yourself, or you want to get expungement, because all of those things help you to get a better job, to be able to obtain housing, and so I wanted to streamline that process, and I found it odd that no one has done it yet. And so the whole reentry taught by a felon kind of kind of kind of stuck to me. And so I got some big things going on with that, and I've signed the NDA, so I can't speak too much about it. But what I will say is that it could possibly change the whole legacy of my whole legacy in a couple months. So be on the lookout for some big stuff coming with the reentry. But
that's amazing, man. And one of the reasons why I love it so much is because you did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I will learn from anyone who has hard-earned wisdom. You know what I mean? And I think first of all, it's beautiful that this is part of your gift to society. And by the way, like, I see it as a gift to society. I don't see it as a gift just to previously incarcerated peoples. Like, the problem of previously incarcerated peoples is society's problem. This is society's problem, right? And so the fact that no one, first of all, there's probably, you in many ways, you've beaten the odds. And so there aren't that many people who could do it. There aren't that many people who could do it. Just aren't that many people who could do it. So thank you for doing it. And then also just, I think there's something serious about the fact that when these people get access to this book, they will be able to look and be like, hold on, who wrote this? And, they can see you, and you have receipts. You know what I'm saying? You have an audit trail. Someone Googles your name, they'll find out you were the most admired CEO in the Nashville Business Journal in 2018, that you sit on the board of trustees for Nashville State Community College. That, like, you've done it. You're legitimate. You know what I mean? And that's why I think your story is so important, and it's so important to get it out there. So with that, let's get into a discussion about your new book. I want to hear about this, because I actually haven't heard about the book. So talk to me about the book.
So I'm like this little low-key geeky type of dude, but nobody knows because I don't have the big elaborate vernacular, and I don't have the degrees of Vanderbilt sitting on my wall, but I'm very intelligent, right? And so I and my team wanted to do something, because everybody knows me for the felon who's doing good. Let's just be honest.
We know that story.
Right. But what they don't know, they really, I don't brag about all the properties I own. Like, I own over 10 properties, right? I run a whole real estate management and investment company, right? I'm a creator. I'm a visionary. I'm one of those people. I look at in this building, I built this whole building. I built it out by myself under the ground. Nobody knew. Nobody did a write-up on it. But I'm good at starting businesses and starting things. And so with this book, I wanted to start a conversation, an important one, because we all have relationship issues with people. Us as the Black culture, we see something wrong with, okay, Marcus, I do something for you and you do something back. We call that tit for tat. We don't like that, right? But other cultures believe in scratching each other's back with no problem. Hey, Marcus, I'm going to do you this favor. And then you ask me for a favor. I say, okay. And then you say, well, I'm going to want, when it's your time, I need you to do it for me, And so this book is called Quid Pro Quo, The Laws of Reciprocity. And there's laws in dealing with people, right? And so we need to be okay with understanding that I can ask you for something, and it's okay for me to expect something back in return. There has to be, when you're valuable, you don't want someone draining your energy, right? You have to bring something to the table as well. And so that's why it's mutuality. We're in agreement, right? You come 50, I come 50. And so we dive into that, man. Oh, we dive into it deep. And then we talk about people that are connected to you versus people that are attached to you, right? And so you have to protect your energy. You have to understand those people that are destined to be with you, who are tied to your destiny. But then you got those people that just kind of come along for a little while and then they fall off, right? And so how to know those people, how to spot those people. And so it's dealing with communication, it's dealing with um, you know, not carrying dead weight too long, knowing how to say no, knowing when to back out of a situation, and I think it's important, man. It's going to be one of my best pieces of work yet.
Look, man, you just said a lot, man, because there is I'm looking forward to this book because there is something that's always there amongst people that not just are successful, okay, but succeed beyond what is expected of them, okay? And I think you just really tapped into it, right? Which is they understand how to navigate relationships. And that is not a one-size-fits-all thing, but there are some laws. There is a framework.
Yeah.
There is a framework, right, for how you engage different people, and largely dependent on how they engage you.
Exactly.
Right. Largely dependent on how they engage you. But then you can always sort of reflect back on those moments and use it to guide the way that you will reach out to other people. Right. And so I'm looking forward to this book, man.
The book is crazy. I'm telling you, we dive into it's the fake. It's so deep. It's crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
Okay. When is it coming?
We're looking probably about June, July this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So during the pandemic, man, I just had time to really, cultivate the things that I've been really working on. So I'm so busy. I'm juggling this and that. But this time to sit down, me and my team, we was just working, like creating content, creating so much stuff. So I've been just dropping stuff. I got my reentry stuff coming on. Then I got the book, and I just got so much going on. But I kind of really needed the break, man. I really did, just to kind of slow down, kind of look at things from a different lens, and I needed it. I really did.
I can relate. I mean, this is the
right.
This is the byproduct of the break.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I spent 8 weeks in the lab, and this is going to change everything. So anyway, man, look, any final words of wisdom that you have for our broad audience, just dialing back to everybody out there who is finding this to be a difficult time in some way, shape, or form, right? You know what I mean? Just practical things that you think will help them.
I know it's a tough time right now, but what I would tell the people is to use this time to grow. I mean, to go after the things that you've been putting on the back burner, and just to drop some nuggets, man. Sell your strengths by your weaknesses. Own your lane. Quit trying to be everybody to every, do everything for everybody and be like everybody. Be yourself. Because let me tell you something about Robert Sherrill. No matter where you see me, no matter the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, the successes, no matter what, I will always be me. Always. You're always going to get the Robert Sherrill that you see. And that is a strength to me because I'm trusted. And people want to know, why did these people gravitate to this dude? It's because I'm not going to change on you. Monday, I'm going to be Robert. Tuesday, I'm going to be Robert. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you can trust people that don't change up. And so people love that authenticity about me. And so sell your strengths, buy your weaknesses, own your lane, be yourself, and the rest will take care of itself.
Amazing wisdom and guidance. Thank you, brother. For everybody out there who has enjoyed Robert and is looking forward to his books, to following him on his journey, this is where you can find him. He's everywhere. He's done a great job of branding. His website's fantastic. He's got a video on there promoting the journey to now that will make you cry. And you definitely want to follow him on Instagram, Robert C. Sherrill, there as well, because he's on fire there. Like you said, he's been creating a lot of content, and he's definitely just one of those dudes you want to tap into. So I just want to big up Robert. Thank him for doing the show. As always, please subscribe to my podcast, Marcus Whitney's Audio Universe. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. and you can follow me as well. I got a gang of content coming out as well. Big book release. It's been 5 years in the making, and really my whole life story and my philosophy on business. So Create and Orchestrate coming soon. But for now, that is it. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in for the second ever fully live episode of Marcus Whitney Live, and we will see you again next time. Peace, everybody.